Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood friendly Kiwi. I was like, friendly what? Kiwi Tash from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her Pisces premonition era.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and unlike a kite, going deep. We've had exciting kite snippets today. Going deep.
That's part of my brain.
I mean, maybe as deep as the staircase scene, where you don't know yet. Diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Dearest listener, it's another party where a lovely time starts cracking and finally explodes with all of the ice in the room. Fran gives Violet a cold cut down. Lady Danbury reveals why she is freezing Marcus out. And Benedict rushes from a heated situation to collect his thoughts and maybe take a cold bath. This is a dark time for our favorite citizen Mayfair. And it's a little late for Patty.
Why you give me a pointed look right when I've got my mouth full? I can't respond.
No, I was just saying, which is
a little bit fitting.
It's after work for me and I can't snack. So all the pod snacks are you and I'm Lee.
So I am a bit of a snack. Thank you so much for acknowledging it. Yes, we very heavy scenes that we are going through. I wish they were lighter to lighten up the vibes of the whole planet right now. But it is what it is. I hope that
we can't pretend this is definitely something I do because I love it. And it is
in a time with so much hatred and bigotry and imbalance of power. Queen, I'm looking at you here. Stop being a bee. It is really nice to be able to escape. I mean, I'm in little old New Zealand, but at this point, I don't think even we're going to be safe. I don't think the penguins at this point are going to be safe. We're all in the Northwest Passage together, okay? Someone shared the pictures of the Northwest Passage saying that they found, was it Maria? No, Sadia posted Lord Debling. She found Lord Debling, and he wasn't even holding his stuffed
stuffy.
His little stuffy. I can't remember what they're called at this point. Not a stork.
Augie the Great Auk.
Augie the Great Auk. I need to use AI to make that an image. Anyway, no great orcs were hurt in the making of this, but we hope that we can continue to be a little shining light. We will be your Sirius star in the night sky, just your little touch of brightness in the week in a otherwise vastly Black existence.
And I just want to say thank you because I've just edited. I'm going to be adding some flair to it. And this isn't going to air for a few weeks after it posts, but to all of our Bridgerton community that submitted a video for the Happy Bridgerton Day video. Thank you so much. It literally made my day to put that all together.
Special shout out to Mally. Your video was perfection. I love the sassy pants of it.
Yes, Mally's was perfect. Sarah, she ate a little sweet treat. And Di was like, the wait is finally over. Like, it was perfect. It was so perfect. I'm so excited.
I love that everyone kind of did something a little bit different and added their own little flair to it without us even saying anything. They were amazing. I loved them.
Yes. So what are you snacking on, you lucky
singles? I was
out. Gosh. I so want crunchy today too.
I was out and about all day and was so busy that I barely eaten, and I walked my new student all around town and got my 8,000 steps in around town, and I've still got to do my walk for the day, and I'm like, I'm done. So I'm hungry. I've worked up an appetite.
I've been snacking a lot today and I just realized as I'm sitting here watching it, I haven't had a crunchy. I mean, I had some grain-free chip with salsa earlier, and that was like the best thing I ate all day, but there just wasn't enough of it left. Do you know what I mean? Like it was some, but not enough. And like, I really salty crunchy. So
all about that salty crunchy. I'm not much for sweets. Like I love fruit sweets, but not sugar.
Oh, I love me a sweet. I ate some peanut butter mixed with whipped cream today with some chocolate.
I did buy, but I'm not going to eat till tomorrow. Cookies, New Zealand's version of a crumble cookie situation. So like
Mm-hmm.
mine's called Funfetti, and it's going to
Yeah.
be so fun.
I can't wait till Saturday when we do our watch party
I was like, oh my God, I
because
have to prepare snacks for it. Like I haven't even thought this.
I ordered macarons. I know somebody who makes them and I ordered.
Maybe I go get myself some macaroons. We've got a macaron company here called Jamie something, and I'll shout them out anyway. Not that I remember their full name, but Jamie something macaroons, the
Yeah,
best
so
macaroons.
if you're on in Ohio, look on Facebook for Sweet Carly Rose Treat. I went to high school with her and she bakes. I'm hoping that I have enough fundage to also pick up. She makes sourdough, and I've learned that sourdough is okay to eat with my lipedema because it's a prebiotic.
Mm.
So
Steven's been making sourdough all week.
it may not inflame me, so I'm hoping to be able to pick up a sourdough loaf. But she's closed most of this week, so I don't know if she'll have anything other than my actual.
Yeah, so
but I don't want to order it because I don't know what I'll have in my budget. You know what I mean?
We are recording this on an odd day today. It is the day after we typically record, but we are trying to get ahead with season 4 looming above us.
We're just trying to end episode 6 before we get excited about season 4. Let's be real.
Do you know how hard? Do you know how hard it is going to be for me to get through the bullshit that is episode 7 when we're only going to have the first 4, which are typically the more happy period of season 4. We're going to have the first 4 episodes,
but we'll have episode 7 has the wedding in it, so it's not all bullshit.
Yes, true.
There's
a lot of angst.
There's plenty, but I mean, we're in Angst City now. We're at the end of 6, and it's all angst from this point on. So, okay. So before we get into that, though, let's do some Bridgerton news. Tosh already announced we got extra scenes today. I'm not sure if it was Shondaland or Netflix.
I was a bit premature.
Yeah, I think that happens with Benedict with Sophie, and that's why
he's a bit premature.
He's like, wow, she's that good? Okay. Now I have seen it all. On CBS this morning, we had a small scene. It was the reunion scene at the party, and she says his name, and he's like, do we know each other? And the look on her face when she realizes,
how did I not see this?
It might not be out in the world yet. It was on an American morning news. I saw it. But the look on her face when she realizes he doesn't recognize her is heartbreaking. It's so terrible. And then we have the kite scene, which I think was Netflix or Shondaland, which is seriously adorable. And it's a much cuter way, like in the Paul and Tilly scene where he says Mr. Bridgerton and Benedict is like Benedict, like it's kind of creeped. But here he just does it like it's so lighthearted. It's like, we're flying a kite, don't call me kind of thing. She's like, thank you, Mr. Bridgerton. And he's like, Benedict. Like I had to listen to it a couple of times because I thought he said marry me. I'm like, what? And he's just throwing out his
really
name.
Premature.
Yeah, he's just throwing out his name, and I'm like, oh, he wants her to call him Benedict. Okay. So some other fun Bridgerton news. I've been watching more of these interviews, and there's this interviewer. He's interviewed every year that I've seen. But he asked some interesting questions, and I do think we're getting the jail scene because there's been several interviewers. You know how I always say like, well, not just that, but I say every year marketing submits questions to these interviewers and multiple people ask the same thing. And one of the questions that's been asked over and over and over is which sibling would bail you out of jail? Anthony. So I think we're getting the jail scene. But we also know.
No. I thought the question was, which sibling would you call if you needed help?
No, it was which sibling would you call to bail you out of jail? That's the one I saw.
Okay. So I thought
Hannah, Luke, and Claudia all said Anthony because and Luke said Anthony just shows back up when the shit hits the fan. Like he just knows when to show up, which I thought was funny. But we know that Hyacinth would be the favorite aunt because they asked Luke, like, now that you guys have a baby, who would be the favorite aunt or uncle? And he wants it to be a safe answer so bad because he doesn't want to upset anybody. And Claudia throws him a bone and was like, well, it wouldn't be Eloise because she'd be shit. She doesn't care.
I just like there's something just so charming and effortlessly hilarious about Claudia Jessie.
Claudia Jessie and I would be friends. Like,
She's a
she is
delight.
sarcastic. Yes, I love her. She makes me laugh all the time. She is completely authentic. Like,
But
she
the
is
way
the
that
most
she but the
out
way
there
that she
authentic
cries
person I know. I've seen.
about things also tells you that she's not just
Yes.
funny and witty and sarcastic. She also
Yeah.
has like a truly genuine heart about her.
Yes, yes, yes. Also, I think they asked what Disney character they would be, and Penn said she would be Ariel, and Colin said he would be Eric.
Oh,
And
like
Claudia
a
gave him shit about it. But he goes, no, he goes, because of the boat and the travel and the warm places. And obviously she's, because Claudia's like, you'd be the Little Mermaid. And he's like, no. Like, he's like, I just figure it loosely tracks. Like, and she's a redhead, We also got Will and Colin's posters. So Colin finally has a promo poster. Those dropped today or late yesterday. And then we've had 2 sightings. I was going to look up the actress's name who plays Rosamund. Doing that now because I forgot. But anyways, Luke Newton was at Fashion Week. This week, and he posted a specific designer or a specific designer. So I don't know if we're gonna see a collab or anything.
Can we just say for a second?
And he looked amazeballs, gonna say.
To the interviewer who asked Luke Newton, well, he kind of asked the 3, Fran, Luke,
and Claudia.
Yep, I'm just Fran. Hannah, Luke, and Claudia. How did it feel to have the sexiest man alive as a brother? And Colin's response, which was very cheeky, didn't seem to take offense to it at all. But when he said it runs in the family, because I'm sorry, are we just completely skating past the fact that Luke Newton was on the list of 100 sexiest men alive last year?
Like, he was in
the spread for it.
In the spread for it last year.
And it's like, are we just going to completely bypass that, Mr. Interviewer?
Michelle,
did you do your research?
Mao.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Mao.
Mm-hmm.
Mao is at Sundance. So we've had sighting of our peeps out in the world.
And the new advert for Bridgerton and
the new advert for Facebook Marketplace
with Luke Newton
so
in it
good.
Was perfection.
So good. I love the cheek. And
it was just it was a really iconic ad.
Yeah, it was so good. And I love the girls. The girls just want to have fun in the string. And they're trying to move this settee, chaise lounge, and like the one girl's on a skateboard or roller skates or some crap. Like, it's so good. It's so cute.
You know what would have been if they were really playing into season 3, would have been so much funnier if it was Luke Newton trying to sell a used carriage with the term lightly soiled.
No, what would have been funny is if they show up to buy a settee and that has minimal damage, but it's the broken settee from that would have been funny. That would have been cute. But that is all I have for Bridgerton news, except for we are so close. We are so close for woohoo. I saw that.
They didn't. Leave me alone. I know how to eat, I swear.
Do you now?
Food does not fall straight from my mouth.
It didn't even make it into your mouth. It touched your lips and fell.
It touched my tongue and fell.
Okay. Where are we?
I thought my tongue was sticky enough. Penn and Colin start dancing. Do a little boogie.
So here we go. Colin and Penn take to the dance floor. And there's, again, I'm going to say again, there's so many people crammed in this room, only 8 couples, 6 or 8. I'm pretty sure it's.
Yes, sorry. Had such a mouthful of crumbs there. All right, let's get into the turbulence beginning. This is one of the scenes.
This is a temper tantrum by a grown woman. I'm sorry.
This is one of the scenes that just does nothing for, like, I so desperately want to like Francesca because I don't want to go through an entire season where I don't like the main character.
Right.
But she's not doing much to help me thus far. Episode 1 was good. of season 4 because, and again, no spoilers, but she's less of a prat from whatever we did see.
She has matured into her marriage. We know it's been at least a year.
Hmm.
I think she's very emotionally immature in
Yes.
season 3.
Yeah.
And I think that is why that is part of what they're using to make it seem like she rushed into her marriage with John, and it's going to take away, like, taking away the actual love of her and John to
Hmm.
make it work with Michaela, where that's not the case in the book. She was courted properly in the book and made her choice with John, and Michael met her after the engagement at the wedding. I think he met her at the wedding. So
Possibly, yeah.
he didn't have a chance. It would have been a faux pas to ruin a wedding, and she wouldn't have left with him because she just met him. So it was seriously a case of, timing
Hmm.
and second chances. That's that trope of that book, is second chances. And they're making it just seem like Francesca's not mature enough to court to be on the marriage mart, and she's just trying to rush through it. I mean, the way she talks about her and John's relationship being easy and that's what we want. Calling her mom out, saying her support's been perfunctory when it hasn't. Like, she's had Violet has had misgivings, but she has supported them. And the
Yes.
fact that she won't go to the queen herself, that she's trying to force her mother. And I mean, we're not going through this line by line. I don't think we need to.
No, so
Everybody
like
knows this
it's
scene.
it's very much that Francesca is trying to push her mum to talk to the Queen about securing. I don't even know if it's to say that they're engaged or to get the
No, to be
Queen's
able to be married.
approval to be married.
They're engaged. It's to be married. Yeah.
But
But let me ask you a question.
I think that
Serious.
Francesca is pushing. I don't know whether Francesca is pushing her because she doesn't want to do it herself. I think that's part of it. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the second part is she's trying to force her mum to approve, and she knows that her mum won't approve until she goes and talks to the Queen. And so she's trying to almost bait her mum into admitting that she is not happy about the match.
Yes, I agree with that. And I think that Francesca is wants a fight with her mother.
Yeah,
I
I think she
think
wants to
that,
push her mum, to be honest.
yeah, I think she wants to, in this instance, she's provoking an argument with her mother. She wants to create a fight. I don't know if she wanted to create it in public, but she wants a fight. And here's how I know. Tell me, and I'm not just talking historically, I'm talking in this.
Hmm.
When someone tries to approach the queen without Brimsley coming to get them, what
Hmm.
happens?
The
What
Queen,
happens?
the Queen is never chill about it at all because she's like,
No, you don't get to talk to her. Brimsley, remember when
hmm,
Claudia, remember when Eloise at the
hmm,
end of season
yeah,
1 tried to go back up to the queen, like thinking they're besties, and Brimsley's like, she's done with you.
yeah,
He would not let anyone approach. If the queen is not ready for an audience, you will not have an audience.
yeah.
She has never had an audience with anyone except for at the full moon ball. She sat somewhere and people did come in and bow for her.
I
That
feel
is
like
it.
I feel like
Nobody spoke to her.
the second that Francesca rejected Samadani, the Queen washed her hands of her. She was
Oh,
bored
I
of her.
agree.
I'm done. Don't care what you do.
She's bored
Do
of it.
whatever you want.
I think they're creating a lot of drama for no reason. I
Mhm.
don't understand why they're creating this sibling rivalry between Francesca and Colin and Penelope, really. I it created drama that didn't need to be there in a season that had way too many storylines. They could have had Francesca have this easy meet cute, have an easy marriage, and not have all this business. But I don't understand how it's going to play into her story
So
for her to be jealous of Penn and Colin and Violet's support of them. This is just extra stuff that could have been taken away so we could have more of a story that matches the book, in my opinion.
yeah.
And I do think that Fran, like, we've had 4 seasons if you count Queen Charlotte, and there's no effing way anybody out in public at a dance, at a ball, would ever approach the queen without Brimsley coming to summon them. And Francesca must know this.
With the exception of Lady Danbury.
That's because Lady Danbury is like a heightened version of a lady in waiting.
Yes, she's the Queen's inner court, which is what we
Right.
were told. Which actually makes me wonder because we have all her ladies' maids who are always kind of dressed in like Marie Antoinette style, right?
Yeah.
In Queen Charlotte, they talked about how they were creating a whole new inner court of majority people of color to represent the fact that the Queen needed, because apparently, we can only relate to those who look like us. I mean, the Great Experiment was good that it pushed things forward, but it was still very much a product of its time of
Well, yeah,
segregation
like
and
speaking of that too, like Katie Long talking about her experience on Bridgerton versus her
versus Harry
experience in
Potter.
Harry
Yeah.
Potter. She checked a box in Harry Potter. They wanted to have diversity,
Yes.
but it was more of a DEI issue where it was
Yes.
like, we want to, it wasn't, you
Wasn't
weren't,
thoughtfully managed. Like the Patel
it was,
sisters,
yes,
where their entire sari, all of the jewelry that they had was basically a slap in the face to their culture because none of it was traditional. Everything was just a minimum effort for checking the
to
box.
check a box,
Yes.
yes.
Um,
And it's different now, but I think that then they thought the ton would accept this queen if it wasn't just her face they were seeing, so they were going to add ladies in waiting who were also persons of color,
but
like
but they also said that her
and
inner court was going to be, and they added the Smythe Smith family, they added the Danburys, they added
yeah, there
quite a
was four or
few.
five ladies, yeah, and it ends
Where
up
are
just being
they?
her in the end.
Where are they? Why is it just Lady
She
Danbury?
doesn't trust them.
I
That's why.
know, but like
She learned she could trust Danbury, and she
the Smythe
doesn't
Smiths were lovely.
necessarily. Yes, but you got to understand too, with everything that's going on with the king, and they were trying to keep it secret. They didn't want
Mm.
it to get out and get public. That they would reduce the inner circle.
Yeah. But anyway, so I digress. That was a long tangent, but it was just something that came to
Yeah,
my
so
mind.
but I think that Fran knows that her mother cannot walk up there. I think she's trying to push and press the queen. I think that Violet was in the right here. We need to wait. We need to secure an audience with her through Lady Danbury. And then Francesca pushes the envelope. Like, if you don't, basically, if you don't do this
You
right
can
now,
see
I'm so mad at you.
Violet is visibly flushed, like flustered and
Mm-hmm.
anxious. Like she is overwhelmed. And she
Yeah,
like
and she says, I don't want to ruin it for you. And Fran immediately jumps to her not approving. But I think Violet knows the rules. And if she would
yes,
approach the
follow the
queen
etiquette. You're
with without permission, it could be bad news bears for them.
Yes, like the thing is, like she's already had multiple kids piss off the queen by doing the wrong thing, but then they still, Daphne and Simon still did the correct thing in waiting for the summons, going with Lady Danbury to the queen in the proper fashion, booking an appointment or whatever have you. And addressing the queen in a proper manner, not in front of the eyes of the entire ton, which is basically airing your dirty laundry. Do you want to be told in front of the entire ton, no, you cannot marry? Because then the queen can't go back on her word and change it later on because she's said it in front of
Right.
the entire ton. If you go
Right.
and
So
address her just in her palace on her own, she can say, "Oh, well,
mhm.
you pissed me off," no, and then later change her mind. But if she can't change her mind if you do it in front of the ton because then it makes it look like she doesn't stick to her word.
She would, right, she would look bad, and she's not going,
Yeah. So, like,
like,
it is absolutely not the correct way to address the situation, especially after you
well, and
have
look at how
wronged the
angry she
queen.
was with Cressida when and I know I'm jumping and we're not getting into that this episode, but I'm just going to say, like, similar situation. Cressida didn't know what they were supposed to do, that she'd never crashed I mean, she has crashed a party, but it was her
Intimate party.
friends.
An intimate party.
It was, yes, it wasn't a public ton party that the queen attended. So she didn't know what she was supposed to do, and she asked her mother.
She could have gone and gotten advice from Portia.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Portia, how do you make a fool of yourself?
her mother's like, we're going to wait for the queen to summon us. She knows that she will. And that's what you do. You wait for the queen to summon you in a public setting. And so I think that Fran is just being petulant. She wants to have an argument with her mother because she doesn't know how to address her needs and her wants and wishes in an emotionally mature way. and she's trying to upset her mother to get her way.
To bait
Like,
her,
she
yeah.
realizes she's the only child that can manage the mama. Like, Violet manages everyone else, but Fran has a chokehold on her that Fran sees she has power over her mother,
okay,
and she
so
uses it here in a very negative.
you know how Eloise last season got away with so much because her mum was so afraid of making the same missteps. Sorry, this season. Like she's
Yeah.
getting away with not being on the ton essentially because she made, Violet is now feeling like she made so many missteps. I'm sorry, no, Eloise made the missteps, but for whatever reason, Violet is taking accountability. She's her mum, so of course you do. But
She's not taking accountability, really. She's afraid of that she almost sent Eloise outside of the ton, but I think she's avoiding because she's not making Eloise do anything. She's kind of
but
avoiding that situation.
she also feels like Francesca is not at risk of that, but like she doesn't want to push Francesca because anytime she does, Francesca just runs off to Bath to go do piano lessons. But I think her mum very much knows it is to escape them more so than have. I mean, it's both. She is passionate about piano. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that.
I think Francesca knows and understands that Violet feels like she made mistakes last season, and she's pouring salt on the wound to get her own way in the moment. I think she's trying to manipulate the moment to get what she wants. Now, what she wants is not a terrible thing. I love
No.
John. I want the two of them to be married, but the way she's going about it is
It's
not
hurtful to
kind
John
to her
too,
mother.
though. It is also
Oh yes,
super,
he was
super
embarrassed and
cruel.
he walked. That cracked me. He's like, "I'm very fine, Wayne's like wife, future wife. This is your beef. I'm out."
Yeah, and I honestly think that even he felt bad for Violet in this moment. Like, but I can't interfere. Like, I'm not an insider in the situation. I cannot add to this. I don't have the social skills to navigate you two women. That is a whole
Yeah.
cluster F of no, thank you. I'm gonna go look at a wall over here. Thank you. I will just.
And
I'm
he's
just gonna look at the wallpaper.
seeing Francesca truly be feisty for the first time, and he probably needed to walk away to regulate himself. Like, what it's gonna be
Well,
like
keep in
if
mind,
I
like
tick her off.
Bridgertons have a whole bunch of alphabet letters attached to potential diagnoses, right? Like that doesn't just come from nowhere. And Violet, not saying that Violet does, but like Violet is like super duper flustered. You can tell that she is overstimulated and like, those moments where your heart is racing, you feel clammy, and you're like, I just want out, just stop. Like as a mum,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're like already overwhelmed, your kid is like overstimulated and they're out of sorts, and like it's really hard to regulate yourself when someone else just keeps pushing at you when you're already like at that limit.
Overwhelmed,
Like,
yeah.
and so like I do not look badly
And
upon how
truthfully,
Violet responded here at all because I
no.
think she does like John. I think she still has reservations, but it's not about John per se. It's more about her daughter. Is my daughter ready? Because she is showing me in every aspect that she is not. She is doing this just to get her way, not because she actually wants John. Like,
Well, and this was created drama, in my opinion. If we look back, because when you're writing and you need certain scenes to occur, you have to go back and map how we get there, right? So we need this argument between Lady Danbury and Lord Anderson, right? We need them to finally come to a peace
mhm.
and finally say the words out loud that they're not saying with each other so that we can know what the beef is. That's important news. We need
Yeah.
that news to understand their dynamic. So the
I f-
writers have
I
to
feel like
go
this.
backwards
This
and map
is
how we get there.
this is
They're
prep for
only
season
getting there
5 or 6.
because, well, possibly, but I think their only way of having this happen in a semi-private space is for them to both chase Violet out of what does Violet have going on where she would leave a ballroom because she's chaperoning, right?
Yeah.
Like Eloise is not married, is not engaged, and as far as the ton knows, neither is Francesca. So she should not be leaving a ballroom. How are we going to get her to leave a ballroom? So they had to map backwards how that would happen so that Lady Danbury and Marcus could exit to have their tete-a-tete. And the only way they could do it, the only person who's pushing Violet at all this season is Francesca. So they mapped back this argument and they had to map that back to the conversation in the churchyard where they need to do this and Danbury tells her no. Remember, we felt like that was extraneous conversation and time, like wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason it feels wasted is because it is wasted time. It's mapped moments to get us to what comes next, which is Violet leaving the room, very upset, visibly upset, and Lord Anderson going after her, Danbury going after her, Danbury stopping him, like, stay away from my friend, and them finally hashing out their thing, which is actually the information we need as viewers to understand their dynamic and why Danbury is being the way she is, when Violet deserves to get her groove back.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the reason that they've also done part of this is to then go on to that next conversation, because Francesca is accusing Violet of not being supportive and goes on to say, like, yell at her mum that not every love has to be big and loud and look like you and dad. Like,
And
I wish she
and
kind
she
of
specifically said every love doesn't have to be hard fought. Our
yeah.
love is easy.
But
And that
but
tells me she doesn't know Jack about Jack, because
no, because her
every
parents' love
marriage,
was easy.
her parents' love was easy, but that doesn't mean it wasn't hard fought. And it doesn't mean that they didn't have their traumas and their situations, right? They had
Yeah.
freaking 8 children. Trust me, there was overwhelm, especially when the first 3 are boys and you start out as a boy mom, right?
Yeah.
And there's big gaps. There's a 5-year gap between Benedict and Colin, and then there's at least a 5-year gap between Francesca and Gregory. So stuff happened there. They possibly had miscarriages and things like that too. Or she thought she was done.
Or you have a small human who sucks at sleeping and doesn't give you enough time to sleep in order to have a second child.
And you're stressed out. You're stressed out, so you're not having
I really desperately want another child, but I'm really desperately not wanting to vomit every day for 9 months again.
So
Yesterday,
we've just decided in this conversation Benedict was colic.
Yesterday I went to go pick up Ezra from kindy, and this little girl who I absolutely adore. She's, I think, a little Chinese girl, and she loves me. Like, I'll blow kisses to Ezra and she blows them back to me. I go to pick up Ezra and she comes running up and, like, arms up, like, give me a hug sort of thing. And I, like, look at the teachers, like, is that okay? And they're like, yeah. And I said to the teacher, if her parents are ever sick of her, I'm more than willing to adopt.
You should organize a play date. Are they friends?
Yeah, they are friends. I don't do, no. I'm not giving up my weekends for play dates. No. I have enough cousins, okay? But no, I was like, I would love another kid. I just don't want to go through another pregnancy and first 2 years. So, like, if I could just skip that bit and get the really cute, sweet girl, I'll feed her lots of berries. I'll take care of her.
Be careful, parents of this girl.
I will read to her every night. She will be well taken care of.
Yeah. So, anyways, her saying that this is easy and it's not hard fought is another sign of her emotional immaturity.
Yes.
She is about to go through, yes, getting to the altar was easy, but if they do follow the fertility timeline, she has troubles in this marriage. Like, she goes through hard times.
Let me just say, as someone who, I mean, you have your own situation with a emotionally unavailable man. My husband is love of my life, but he is so autistic that emotions aren't a thing. And so when I have big feels that I can imagine one would have when
emotions
children
are a thing, they're just they take longer to process them because they have to identify them first, and that's the struggle.
Sorry, emotional awareness is not a thing for him, shall I say?
Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
Emotional awareness is not a thing.
Because I'm really thinking that my issue is not about emotional avoidance, it's about not recognizing them in the moment when it would make the most sense, and finally recognizing them at a time that's inconvenient.
Yeah, but anyway, what my point here is that I very much believe that if she is going to go through her infertility struggle, that is where their marriage may have some very, very big blips, because to go through that and to not feel support would be incredibly isolating, and potentially also another reason why she wants to be close to her mum in this season.
I think so, because they've been gone a year and she's trying and
it's not happening.
It's not happening.
Because you weren't allowed to talk about even though you were
I
married, you were not allowed to
yeah,
talk to your husband about your courses back then. It was not a
no.
thing.
And I do hope that her trials and tribulations she goes, we saw some reconciliation when they finally got to get married. But again, that was Francesca getting what she wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I hope as she sees some adversity and she doesn't always get what she wants. Because again, her going to Bath and her going to have her piano lessons and all that is always Fran getting
Yeah.
I think Francesca in this house is most spoiled.
I can agree
She
with
just
that.
gets what she wants. So we have Violet leave visibly upset, and she is first clocked by Lord Anderson, and then of course Danbury clocks both of them and rushes out Waylon. And she's so assertive,
Hmm.
borderline aggressive. She's like, I will go
She's very
after my
pushy.
friend.
Yeah. No,
I'm not
yeah.
using a poor word because she truly thinks she's protecting her friend because of her anger toward her brother. She thinks she's protecting her friend from somebody she doesn't deem worthy enough for her
Yes.
friend.
Yeah.
So, and she's worried because he took a perceived, like her perceived freedom from her, that trying to take it's a trigger. She's triggered by a situation that occurred years before, and it feels raw and real right now, like he's taking something else from. She's not about that life.
I think this is very much like this conversation was overdue, massively overdue.
And not just for the viewers, like, why are we getting this in episodes? I'm just saying.
Yes. So like, and I think Marcus very specifically is like, you know what? Like I've tried to ignore this, thinking if I just stay my consistent, happy, light-hearted self, then eventually
Yeah.
my sister will know I'm a safe person. Yes, this is my brother. I remember him. He's exactly who or what I remember, or whatever have it. Like he's like, if I just stay consistent, maybe what's going on isn't to do with me. And then the more it went on and the more it dragged on, and I think that he is very much noticing that it is any time that he tries to go near Violet, which is when his sister is throwing women in his way,
Right.
specifically to keep him away. And I think he's very much noticed that. And that is why he uses the line, like, you are not the only person who cares for Violet.
Well, and I think that line is bigger than, like, he says it kind of as a throwaway, but I think
Yes,
that line is huge. He is
yes.
admitting
And it's
feelings for someone
because
he
it's
can't
not,
actively court yet.
and it's not, you are not the only one who is interested in Violet. You are not the only one who enjoys being around Violet. You are not the only one who cares
Right.
for her, which indicates deeper feelings than just I'm
Yes.
interested and want to get to know someone.
Like he wants to court her and he's trying.
Which is what
And
also leads me to believe that what we were talking about in earlier seasons, that we believe that they did have a sex scene that was then cut. This conversation would make a lot more sense going along with if they had already consummated the
if they have
affection.
had closer relations than they've had, yes.
Yes. So,
Um,
could the term to me that he cares for Violet seems a little disproportioned if they had not been intimate in that sort of way, if that makes sense.
Yes, because he's not been able to actively court her.
Yes.
Yes, she invited him to the engagement party. Yes, they were seen talking and whatnot. But that's the only time they were given, like, they met up in the park, but she was chaperoning then, so they couldn't have had a long conversation. They've had very short conversations, and he could not have developed feelings this quickly
Yes.
without having more depth to their interactions than we have.
Yes, exactly that. And so, and you know, the funny thing is I feel like a lot of viewers view this as Penelope and Colin of when did that happen? It's like, no, no, no. There were actually many scenes leading up to this. Whereas with Lord Anderson and Violet, it's like there were scenes they were just cut, you know?
Yes, like it is very hard for me. I can't say it's very hard for, like, I see that he cares for her, but I also understand that just because we don't have a character on screen, that you have to get the context of things to understand other interactions have occurred.
Yes.
Like they've met up at a couple of balls, they've had a couple of conversations. They realize they're both in the same like time of their life sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely an attraction, but to go from attraction to care means they had to have had more than that engagement party of interaction, really, because the kids didn't even register him yet
Yes.
at that engagement party, and not all of them were focused on other things. And Anthony was at that engagement party, and you saw how he looked at him at the wedding, so he would have clocked it if they were acting
Anthony was the lord of the
canoodly.
Anthony is the lord of the house. He that there should have been definitely some sort of interaction between these two. Like if we want to talk about things that were omitted that should have happened in order for all this, that was one of the scenes that should have happened, which happened in Penelope and Colin's book because Violet dances with a man at the mask. Oh, no, it mix up the timeline. But Anthony should have, because at first he feels kind of like, that's my mum, no one's
Well, and
going near my mum. Like he's
he's
protective.
protective of his mom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's the man of
So
the house. So she is also under his duty of care.
yeah, so if anyone out there who doesn't believe in Colin and Penn's trajectory are sitting here shipping Lord Anderson and Violet, you're hypocrite.
Yeah. Yeah. um yes. So I actually kind of respect Lord Anderson. Like I see both sides of the coin of this argument. She has deep trauma that he did not see. He
Right.
did not see the trauma of her being married off to an aged man as a child. He did not see that. He did not understand that. He does not understand the trauma and PTSD and just so many feelings that went along with that. And I feel like Lady D's dad is not around. And so I feel like a lot of her hurt feelings, like she has to be strong all the time. And this is one of the very few people that she gets to be truly vulnerable with and finally move on from that hurt because she can't confront her dad. So I think she has, what is it called where you shift feelings from one person to another?
Project.
Yeah, she has projected a lot of her feelings towards her dad onto her brother because he is now the lord of the household. And so she's projected a
Yeah,
lot
because
of
she
those
hasn't had
feelings.
closure. She hasn't been able to close
Exactly.
the loop of the trauma, so she's
Yes.
transferred it to someone
So
else.
I feel like a lot of the angst that she feels towards him is actually more projection rather than, I mean, he was a literal child when what
He's a
happened,
child.
but I really respected the fact that he was like, you know what? We actually just need to have this out. Tell me what I've done wrong so we can get over it. And whilst that terminology is not perfect, because no woman wants to be told, just tell me what I did wrong so we can get over it, it should be tell me
Well, and he just said
tell me what you
enough.
think I
Like,
did wrong so
yeah.
we can work on it would be better terminology.
And it's not pretty. Like they haven't seen each other in a long time. It's really awkward, but I do like their interaction in the
Yes.
fact that he is trying to be present. He
Yes.
is trying to say what I mean, he's telling her how she feels. I mean, she's already said how she feels, but he's trying to give the why first, like he knows, instead of being curious and asking questions. And, I feel that because I tend to do the same thing. I believe I already know why somebody's upset because my brain comes up with 75 different
Scenarios.
scenarios.
Yeah.
And then I go, that would makes the most sense. And I think he's done the same thing because back then that would make the most sense. She's the oldest, but he's the boy. And most people would assume it's that. So he says what he thinks it is, and she gets even more upset. And when she finally tells him that he betrayed her, the look on his face, he is gobsmacked.
Yeah, because he could never have fathomed that she would hold on to hatred towards him for an act that he did when he was what, 7 years old?
10.
10.
When
Sorry.
he brings it up later, he's 10. But the thing is in the moment, I think he really does feel remorse and guilt and it took him a while to process when he finally came to her with an apology later. He explained, like, I was 10, like, I didn't understand what was going on. But I think in the moment, he's like, wow, like, I think personally, because she is a woman and women had to be protected, and he got inclination that she was going to run away, that he felt what he did was protecting her and he was her hero and her savior, and then she got married and she had this long, quote unquote, successful marriage because she didn't tell anybody struggling in the marriage except Coral. And so he assumed she was a widow who, even if she didn't love her husband,
Well,
she liked him.
as a 10-year-old, can you fathom that growing up, you are told you grow up, you get married? From the moment that he was born,
And you protect your women. Like
But
women
but from
grow
the
up in
moment
their
he was
family's
born,
house.
but from the moment that he was born, he was told, this is the man that your sister's going to marry. So for him, it was
Hmm.
completely normalized. At no point would he ever think, hey, that's weird. She is too old, because that is a thought that we have when we are adults ourselves and we realize how wrong those things are.
Yeah.
But the point that he had the cognition to understand how messed up what her dad had done, they'd already been married for a long time.
It already was
The
done.
husband
Yeah.
might have already
And he
died. So
never,
like,
and I don't think he ever saw it as messed up because he was 10, she was engaged, she was going to be married, and she stayed married to this man. She was never on an episode of Snapped. She didn't kill him. He died of a heart failure, old age, and he just assumed it was similar to his own marriage. Most of us live in our own bubble.
it was
And I
arranged,
think,
but they found some comfort with each other. Maybe not love, but
yes,
like,
just like
companionship at
his
least.
marriage. It was not a love match, but he grew to care for his wife. And I think he felt the same with her. And
And I
also
mean, to be fair,
women had to be protected from birth, and the family protects her until she gets married, and then her husband protects her until she dies or he dies or whatever. And then as a widow, 9 times out of 10 back then, women remarried. They didn't stay single because they were unprotected as single
yeah,
women.
yes. So I mean, I can see all sides of this. I can see why she feels hurt. I can see why he didn't know why. I mean, it is very easy to look at
But I love that these two situations are put one right after the other because you
yes.
can see a very childish provocation of an argument. And then you can see not that it was provoked, but an adult argument that may not have ended well at the time, but it was still adult. They spoke with each other. They didn't scream and yell. They both were heard.
This felt like
And
Lady Danbury speaking as a child rather than as her adult
yes,
self. Like it
she
was
was
like she
struggling to
regressed.
control
Yeah.
herself. Yes. And then him using her born name, which Soma is
Soma.
beautiful. I said
Soma's
that
really
from the
I really like the name Soma
why
and the
doesn't
way he
she
says it.
be
So
Soma and not Agatha? I'd like to know. I want to know that. Like, why did your name to Agatha? Because I don't think we ever
I
found that out.
wonder, no, I can't say that more. Ah, I wonder whether she will become Soma eventually.
I think she's going on a journey and that may come back up again. But I think it also plays into there are other reasons aside from being trans for why you would have a born name and a current, like he dead named her
Oh,
really is what he did.
no. I think it was very much for acceptance within the community. I think that her husband
Oh,
would
I'm
have chosen
sure.
her white people, because Agatha,
English name, her English name is what they
you do not hear the name Agatha and a black person comes to mind. When I think
right.
Agatha, I think like the name Agatha in my mind immediately Professor McGonagall pops to my mind. Like that's to
Mm-hmm.
me Agatha, like a cranky old woman, like with a walking stick, gray hair. That's just what my mind
Mm-hmm.
imagines. So, I mean, most
And obviously,
Asian,
Julia Quinn imagines the same thing because that's exactly the description of Lady Danbury
yes,
in the
yes.
books.
Like when I was reading Lady Danbury, in my mind, I was seeing Professor McGonagall without a witch's hat,
Yeah.
top hat instead.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm not even going Maggie Smith. I'm thinking somebody a little bit more wiry, like if like Helen Mirren, but they make up her to look really crotchety and hump a bent kind of.
um,
But
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of Asian culture, when they come to Western world, they choose a Western name for themselves, usually speaking, because their names are not necessarily easy to pronounce, but Soma is.
it happened with Indigenous Americans too, as they were colonized. They were given English.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and a lot of the time, like I asked some of my Chinese friends that I went to university with, like, why? Because their Chinese name wasn't actually hard to say, and they said they just really wanted to get to choose their own name. So sometimes it is just a fun thing, if that makes sense.
We let Cameron's name. We had to say no to a couple things, but he got to choose in the end. I mean, the boy wanted Michael Jackson. That wasn't even the first choice. His first choice was Batman. He wanted his first name to be Batman.
Pretty.
He was no. If he was 6, cute. He was 14.
So this argument kind of ends on the line of, now, if you will excuse me, I must find my friend. It was laced with, like, this one line is like embodied
She dismissed him like the queen dismisses people.
It wasn't just a dismissal, though. It was a dismissal and a, that is my friend. You are not to go near her. That is my friend. Limits. She is off limits. Like, that is my friend. Off. Like...
Yeah, she's like, she is nothing to you. She is my friend.
Like, you will not take anything more from me, more than you already have. Like, I think she very much feels that he stole her entire life.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we see it very much in her conversations with Kate in season 2, that Kate looked up to the life that Lady Danbury had, and it was kind of the first time that we see the not cracks in the facade, but like,
because she never said she lived a great life. She said she lived a life.
Yes, she lived a life.
Experience.
Yes, yes. And I think that if she were to choose differently, and if it were not in a time period where divorce was just not a thing, I think very much if this was 2025, Lord Ledger would have left his wife and would have married Danbury. But that is not the time period we were living in or the existence we were living in. And so she had to sustain on the love that they shared for a short time.
Okay, and then the last scene of this episode.
The last scene, let's talk about some daisy fields. Like, remember when Eloise...
Well, first of all, I do want to say
remember when Eloise and Penelope...
Danbury's necklace. Yeah, Danbury in that scene, her necklace fire. I love it.
Can we
it's flowers. It's not butterflies.
Can we just talk to, like, count to 1,000 now? And then...
No.
Maybe, like, count the planets.
These are two men who just
I
met.
don't want to talk about it.
They don't know each other. And you can't tell me it isn't grooming, because does Paul look like he can't afford? Does Paul look like he can't afford his own cigar? Does Benedict? Yet they're sharing a cigar.
So... I don't know, sharing cigars was a very, very common occurrence back then. It was nothing to do with whether or not you could share one. It was more to do with the fact that
sharing one, it's not pot. It's not past the duchy. Whenever, like, I mean, it may happen, but they just met each other. I don't see it being an occurrence. And I think even Tilly has a cigar box with multiple cigars, yet they are sharing. I think that is hurting. I think it is a way of Paul creating intimacy. Their lips are touching the same phallic symbol. It's like Phoebe from Friends going, "Oh, you drank out of my soda," or "Oh, you ate off my fork." We've kissed now. Whatever that scene was, it's very similar. I gotta go faucet realizing what before I have. Be right back. I'm back.
Yeah.
A good word of my landlord. But yeah, that's the first thing. Well, I watched the scene twice when I was taking notes, and I noticed that, like, he's holding the cigar, Paul is, the whole time until the end, because they're just talking. But it's almost like he's saying, I'm passing the baton to you. The choice is now yours, kind of thing. Although where he was very overt. He was not overt at first, but then he said the liquor has made you charming, became even more overt.
Well, before we even get into that part, I feel like there was a lot of him weaving his way to this conversation. Like, at first, like, Paul is sitting there and putting down society and basically talking about how vapid society is and how I'm so much cooler than it. I'm above it. I'm outside of it. And Benedict cannot fathom why Paul thinks that society would judge him for his choices.
Yeah.
So I
can't see what he could even be judged. Like,
yes.
What could they even judge for?
I'm very curious because I believe that Paul is a first son. I think I don't know what he is, because he's not a lord. Otherwise, he would be referred to as Lord Suarez, but he's not. He is more often than not referred to as Paul. Never, ever a lord. Lord is not in his name.
The thing is, though, is that he could have, because you can grow up being the first son, and you can kind of like how a king can abdicate the throne. He could be disowned because of his lifestyle. He could have been disowned, and they give the titleship to a second.
True. I suppose they did that in a lot of Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen.
Well, I mean, yeah, think of Sense and Sensibility,
Sorry,
because
Sense and Sensibility.
Edward was the heir.
Yes. Yeah.
And he lost it to his
Yes.
brother, and then Fanny married his brother instead because
Yeah.
she truly just wanted that's not really spoken. I mean, it's in the book, it's not spoken as much in the movie. You have to understand the context to understand
Oh
that
no,
she
I thought
switched
that was
brothers.
very explicitly obvious.
Not everybody gets,
Remember
because
how we're
all he
talking
says is,
Remember
oh
how we were
no,
talking about
she's
low
married to my
context and high
brother.
context countries?
Yeah.
It's really funny because we both come from low context, high context countries, but like you and I are the queens of reading between the context.
Yeah.
Um,
I've had
yeah,
to explain to people like, no, Fanny, he didn't break Fanny's heart. She went to the brother that had the title money.
yeah, she was like, just give me what I want. Like I wasn't here for you. I was just, yeah. Anyway, I'm very curious where Paul fits into society because no one bats an eye at him attending society events when he does choose to attend, even though it is a Featherington event. I still don't. Benedict didn't invite him.
But he also stayed. I mean, they were in the back, and he was basically a wallflower. So
But
I don't think, and the attention wasn't on him.
He's acting as if he's within society, as in
Mm-hmm.
within the ton, but outside of the rules of society. So I'm very curious as to
Yep.
where he actually fits society. And please, for the love of God, I don't want to see him in four. I just do not like him one little bit. Paul then responds
No,
with,
I think he was a means to an end, and I don't think we'll see him again. But he was not, in
why
my
could it
opinion.
not have been tied to
They
Sir
could have,
Henry Grand? Like,
yeah, they could have introduced Benedict to this world with anyone other than Paul. Paul was groomed, very much a grooming situation. And honestly, I think that maybe that was the case because they already knew some people were going to take issue with it. So they're giving us an out by making him smarmy car salesman-y kind of dude.
well,
Um,
because Paul responds with, then Tilly has not told you all of our stories with such an intense,
yeah,
what
he
I
was
think he believes is
dripping.
a sexual appearance on his face. Like,
Yeah.
come hither. Like, no, dude. But this told me very much that he is the ringleader of this and he is trying to push Tilly into it. And I did go and look further at the scene that you were talking about, and I don't think that Tilly was 100% on board at all. I think Paul was also ringleading her into this. I think that
No, I think most of these women, or I guess in this situation it could be a man doing it for women. We just don't know of too many of that in the news. But the woman is seeking the man's approval. So she starts doing this to gain their approval. I feel like she is trying to, like when Benedict says something that she thinks Paul will like, she turns to him like she's seeking approval for choosing this person. And yes, it could look like she wants a relationship and she wants Paul to like him, but we already know what their plan is by the way they talk about it.
You know what I feel like this situation is? I feel like the situation is this is a pattern of theirs. They are not happy being in a couple with each other because they require outside stimulation or whatever. They're good friends, but they're not each other's person, if that makes sense. So I feel like this is a pattern, and Paul is like, I know that you've got a new man, that you've got a new plaything, and I want in too. And it was already such an established pattern that Tilly was like, "Oh, this is what we do. This is the pattern. This is what is expected of me." And I think that she regretted it this time because she was starting to feel something for Benedict and vice versa. And she's like, this one feels different. I don't know that I want this one to play out the way that you want it to. But she was already so deep into it being a thing with him that Paul was like, well, no, we've always done this. You can't back out now. But
I also think there's an element with Paul of pulling somebody that sees the potential, but that they're not willing to go there. Like there are people out there, I have known of that it is their mission in life to try and turn
straight balls, seemingly straight people.
Yeah. And I've known women that have had crushes on gay men that they swore they would turn them straight. So, but here it feels like a game to me, like it's a game he plays that he can, have a conquest of somebody that is notoriously straight. I think he does know Benedict the way he paused before saying paint. I think he knows who Benedict is, and I think he knows his reputation among their set because Benedict is a little outside of society lady also
Mm-hmm.
hangs out there, that I think he's trying to gauge the challenge. And
I'm actually a little bit surprised that he does not bring up Lord Granville, because he would have run in the same circles as Lord Granville. If they're outside of society, if he's in the arts, there is
but he
no
doesn't
way
want to
that.
bring up Granville because then he's uncovering this side of Benedict using somebody Benedict already knows, which either A, could scare Benedict off. It's like, oh, if you know Granville, you might like that too, and I'm not ready for that. Or it takes away the thrill of the conquest, like, because he can't claim he did it all himself. I don't think he would have brought up Granville because I think Paul has that, like, I did this kind of thing. Like, it's shake and bake and I helped is not his. He did. He wants to take credit for
This is
turning
when
him.
Benedict finally builds up the courage to kind of inquire about Paul and Tilly's relationship. He's like, and I think that Benedict and actually, no, I don't think. Luke Thompson has specifically stated that Benedict did have genuine feelings for Tilly. Genuine feelings does not necessarily mean, hey, I want to settle down and get married and have kids with you.
Right.
It means that we had a genuine bond. And so I think that this whole episode kind of plays out as him being a little bit hurt, actually, because he's like, I thought we were building something here. We felt not necessarily exclusive, but like, you met my family, I'm meeting your people. I thought that that meant that we were,
I think in this moment, he was
progressing.
truly considering honestly courting.
Yes.
And he was gauging, like, how much of a friend are you, Paul?
Yes.
Like,
And
for competition purposes.
but because he's also a little wily Benedict vibes, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, the wine must have gone to my head. Like, excuse me for asking such a rude question. Like, when he realized the answer was going to be not something that he necessarily wanted to hear, and that maybe he had misjudged the bond that him and Tilly were forming. And I think that
he decided he didn't want the answer because he could see the answer on Paul's face.
He could see the answer, and he felt stupid for assuming that the relationship was going to a place that it clearly wasn't, if she has multiple bonds like lovers. This with other people. Well, not just lovers. Not just lovers, because like back then, like having a lover wasn't frowned upon, but having a lover who was also that you had a bond with, that was a whole different situation.
But women having multiple lovers was very frowned upon.
Okay.
Women could take a lover and be discreet, but taking multiple, you were basically a harlot.
So anyway, Paul kind of goes off and says, oh, I must go find, sorry, this was the part where Paul then is like, oh, well, the wine didn't just make you rude, like it's made you rather charming.
And does that look again, that
gross.
And it's that gross look, like when somebody opens their eyes to where you can see the whites all the way around the iris.
Yes,
dude, you're looking too hard. Like,
do you have something in your eye? Like, what is happening there? Like, did the wind change? Are your eyes stuck like that? What are you doing with your face, sir? Let me just say, I watched this scene over 5 times looking for what the fudge Paul is seeing, because to me, Benedict gives no indication of seeming flattered, interested. Instead, he looks overwhelmed. And yes, I know
uncomfortable, and he does that little giggle. Trust me, I know the sound of an uncomfortable giggle.
And he's like breathing funny, like what? Like, I don't know where this.
People come and sing an introvert happy birthday in front of other people. You get that uncomfortable giggle.
Yeah,
I know what that sounds like, and Benedict did it a couple of times.
Yes. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who will say, oh, well, he was overwhelmed because he was realizing something that he was trying to deny about himself. But to me, it felt like, what have I gotten myself into? This is beyond what I am comfortable with. And I don't want to be in this situation, but I don't know how to get out of the situation. I thought I was building a bond with a woman. That bond is clearly not what I thought it was. What am I doing here?
Yes, I think he had an inkling. I think he found Paul intriguing and possibly attractive, and that made him nervous. But I think Paul came on too strong and made him super uncomfortable. And when Paul left, I think he felt guilty because he's a Bridgerton and he's going to take full responsibility and accountability for this situation because he was rude. I think he's heading out to apologize. Like, I'm so sorry. I drank too much. I said too much, whatever, only to walk in on the kissing. And
well, it wasn't even the kissing part. It was like, It very much like this might sound funny, but it felt very much like walking into overhear people conspiring against
Against
you.
you. Yes.
That's what it felt
That
like.
conversation is why Paul to me is growth.
Like I'm like,
Because he's like, oh, I think he's
are they
ready.
about
I
to
think he's
abduct him and
good.
kill him or ransom him for money?
And
Like
she's like, are you sure? Yeah, it was I decided they were grooming Benedict because of that conversation. It sounded like when two swingers, like there's all these movies where you randomly find out your neighbors are or something like
I
that, and
have
they
been
try and pull you in.
we went away on we stayed in one of Steven's workmate, like this is like 15 years ago, workmate, and I was like 22, 23 at the time, and I just started getting vibes from them, and they were drinking and I don't drink, and they were like trying to push it, and I was like, Stephen, I'm actually just like, I just want to go to bed. Like I don't even want them to have the opportunity to put me in a scenario where I have to say no because I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to avoid it altogether. But it just felt like there was just
Yeah.
comments made repeatedly that were making me feel like that was where they were going, which is exactly what this is. And so I excused myself before the situation could even arise because I was like, and this is what I put in my notes. I don't know how that Paul got that from Benedict, who was not picking up what Paul was putting down at all. He was just being too polite to be openly disgusted by it or affronted by it. He was never going to be like, that's so disgusting. I'm going to pummel you, you queer. Like,
Yeah, I do.
he's
Yeah,
not,
I
like,
don't think
he's taking it as
I
he's not
see
being
there's
openly
yeah,
affronted by it.
there
Therefore, he
had
must
to
be
be
into it.
interest. There had to be interest for him to think on it and come back to the table. And when they said, we're glad you came back, and he kisses Paul. So there has to be some sort of interest, but I think that Paul came on way too strong and it overwhelmed Benedict. And Benedict was visibly uncomfortable. But Paul is one of those people that just doesn't, for him, the word no is a maybe. And if you don't say anything, that's a definite yes. He's the
Yeah.
kind that says,
Yeah.
well, if they don't say no, it's a yes.
Yes.
And it was icky.
Like Tilly, like when Tilly responds, "Are you sure?" Like, because and this is what made me believe that it was kind of like the pattern of them doing this, but this time she wanted it to be different. Are you sure? Like, I
Yeah.
think there was that part of her that did not want him to be sure because she also thought that they had something special. And if he said no, then it solidified for her that, hey, maybe this can be a thing between the two of us. Maybe we can build to being more than just my plaything or my thruple or whatever. Maybe this is different this time. And I think that she was maybe a little bit hoping that he would reject it. And that's why later on she
Mm-hmm.
says, like, I'm happy to continue just you and me.
Well, and the thing is if you look at the timing of everything, because from this point, the wedding, maybe only a couple weeks go by. And then from the wedding till the outing of down, another couple of weeks. So their trysts only lasted like and then down is like, I want it to just be us, you know? So where in that month did she look and go, yeah, I don't want to share you, you know?
Hmm.
So I think it potentially was from the beginning, but she went
Yes.
along because she always had. And Paul's pushy AF.
Yes. Like I have a friend who tried being like having an open relationship with her partner, and then he pushed the boundaries with people that she wasn't comfortable with, but because she'd already said yes previously, she did not know how to say no, and it ruined a very, very good friendship of
Open as
theirs.
in them sharing people, or open as in him having relationships, her having relationships
Sharing.
outside of their. Okay, regardless of you saying yes to open, you still, especially a female, has to feel safe with the person involved. Like women's bodies will just reject, like they won't get on, you know. Now I know there's situations with forced stuff where women feel betrayed by their body, does do the things it needs to do, but a woman getting lubrication is just so it doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean she's turned on, right?
Hmm.
So, but a woman's body, if
That
she
was
feels
the
unsafe, she
biggest
can say
sneeze
no.
ever. Jesus Christ. I feel like does the moon have a new crater on it? Like, Lord, Stephen. But
And he probably maybe he cleared out them sinuses. So yay.
yeah, well,
But
my
I
point
think
my
that
point was kind
I
of more
don't
like
think
I was talking about it being like because they'd already
yeah,
established,
it's already a
yeah,
thing.
it's already a
But
thing.
I think we've established that Paul doesn't seem, not that Benedict said no, not that she said no, but I just get the vibe that he doesn't understand no as a no. Like he takes it as a challenge
Yes,
almost.
I think so as well.
So she didn't say no and she let it continue. And Benedict went off. He didn't even say no. He just is like, I'm supposed to be somewhere, you
Well,
know?
he walks in to seeing like no, because he already heard everything at this point. I don't think
Yeah.
he had any idea necessarily what they were conspiring against. Like I'm sure he could
He had
probably
no idea till this moment. He visibly
yes.
looked surprised. Yes.
Yes. And Benedict interrupts their kiss by clearing his throat loudly. And this did not seem like he was interrupting because he wanted to be part of it at all, but more him feeling the need to
He
interrupt
wanted to
because
stop
he
it.
thought that
Yeah.
there was something between him and Tilly. And I was actually really surprised that he stopped it rather than just leaving or something. And this is what makes me feel like he did genuinely have feelings for Tilly. And this was like a really hard moment for him where he's like, but weren't we doing something here? And I thought I was coming here under the pretense of getting approval from this man as some sort of protector in your life, some sort of chaperone of sorts that,
Yeah,
yes, he
his talk
approves
was
of
like
me.
I'm present. I'm still
I'm right
here.
here.
What are
Like
you
I was
doing?
I was
Yeah.
brought here as your date as such, and now
Right.
you're kissing another man that I've just established outside that maybe you guys are a thing, but I didn't want to hear about it, and now I have to see it, and now my
That's
facade is
worse.
shattered.
He denied hearing the statement only to have to walk in and witness it. Like
Yes.
that's hard.
I think it did hurt his feelings. Like
Mm-hmm.
because this seems really out of character for Benedict to actually interrupt rather than just, oh, she'll be right. I'll leave them to it and I'll just come back another time, shall I? Do you guys need 5 minutes? What do you like?
Yeah.
Benedict is so jovial all the time, and this is a time that the clearing of his throat almost seemed not pissed off per se, but like, I'm here.
Forceful.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
yeah,
acknowledge
excuse
me.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is when Paul invites Benedict to join them. I just
And
didn't even
Tilly
oh
reads the body language, though. I just want to say again, Tilly reads the body language and she's trying to explain, she's trying to salvage the situation. And then Paul's like, we wanted you to join us. Like he's
he's
still
speaking for
pushing.
her.
Yes, he's still pushing the situation because of what he wants. He is gross. I'm not going to look at him as any other way but gross, ever.
Yes.
He
And
does not redeem himself ever.
Maria was talking this week, and Sarah also was in the chat, and you were in the chat, I was in the chat, about how we hate when people are just purely negative about a character and they can't see both sides of it. This is one time where I'm
This is my
this is
my
my
hill I
line.
will die on.
This is my hill I will die on, and I've pretty much been the same. I mean, you still have the recordings. My initial reaction from watching it the very first time, and I let out the most guttural no, like
Yeah.
ugh! And it was not a gross two men are kissing. It was a gross the predator got what he wanted kind of a moment.
Yes.
Like Lord Henry Grenville Benedict. I mean, I'd pay to watch that, but Paul.
Yeah, if it was
Mm-mm,
Granville, I would have
mm-mm.
been like,
You
that
get it,
makes
girl.
sense because Granville had his relationship, and I feel like his relationship was solid. But I
Yes.
think he recognized something in Benedict that he wanted to awaken, and he potentially could introduce Benedict to someone he could love. I think that was Granville's motive, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
he felt he saw something, a kindred spirit in Benedict, and he wanted to introduce him to that side of himself so that
He
maybe
didn't
he
just
could
want a
find love in
bun
a
for
different
his
way.
he didn't just want a bun for his sausage.
No, but Paul is pushy and just wants to wet horse.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter who is at the cost of that because if Paul noticed Tilly's behavior and changes with Benedict at all, like it didn't seem like he cared. Like this is meant to be his lifelong best friend of such, his kindred spirit, his soulmate, his whatever. They're really good friends. My very good friend, Paul. Whatever. He's not a very good friend because he could clearly see that you were building something with someone and he pushed anyway.
And he could see that everybody was uncomfortable.
Yes. Like read the room, dude.
Ma,
A dinosaur Mickey Mouse.
Daddy wrote this one. This was mommy.
Thank you, darling. I love it. Hey, Ezra, come here. Come here. Your hair's not. I help it. I help it. Trying to put Hello
Trying to put a
Kitty.
clip.
Hello Kitty. No, but shall I put it on the towel? Okay. A hair clip soon. Very soon.
We're almost done.
Like we're wrapping it up. No, thank you, darling. I'm just gonna put a nice little intermittence between such slimy conversation. My child bringing me a Mickey Mouse drawing. Mickey Mouse.
I can't see it. Just take a picture and send it in the chat.
It's very faint. It is hard to see. It's very cute. I would imagine that there was some assists in drawing that. I love how he's like, I'm gonna do origami with Daddy, and then gives me a picture on the origami. Oh, he's so cute. There you go.
I do have one more thing to say.
Tilly very much to me looks. Sorry.
No. Keep going with Tilly because mine has literally nothing to them. It just has indicator of this scene that.
Okay. So Tilly,
for
me, I think looks scared that Paul has scared him away and pushed too soon or pushed at all when it wasn't what she actually truly wanted. Like she looks like she wants to run after Benedict and be like, I'm so sorry. I don't want that. Yep. I just want it to be you and me. Can we just pretend that it never happened? You know, like I feel like that's kind of where she's at. And I feel like Paul's like, well, he'll come around. You know, they always do, you know, that kind.
Yeah, they always do. I always get what I want. Yeah. So getting out of that discussion, I just want to point out that when they're standing outside, okay, when was the
full moon ball?
And how often do we get?
It's a month.
A month later. So from the kiss through Deb, like they pointedly showed this, it's really only been like a month. There's not been a lot of time. At most, maybe 2, but I think it's only a month if you really follow. So our timing, there's no way they got married in August. They got married in June. Like, because remember, she went, the balloon scene was May Day. So that was May 1st, right? So the full moon
June
was
or July at most, but more likely.
Yeah, so
June.
this had to be the end of May because them kissing would have been the end of April. So this had to be the end of May. And this from this night through the wedding, we know she republishes. They're angry. They aren't seen together for a couple of weeks, probably. I'm guessing end of June they got married.
Yeah.
So she would have been a good 7 weeks pregnant by the solid.
Yes. So next week we are going to wrap up this episode. And when I say next week, I mean I've lost track of when these are going to post because we're recording this now so that when
we were trying to get season 6 done before 4, but we still have one more episode to go.
All right. So yeah, we will wrap up episode 6 in our next episode.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, who knows?
Sometime. Have we decided that we will alternate weeks or releases or do double drops? I don't even know.
I don't think we've decided anything, but we are done with 6. So I think
nearly done.
Well, you know what I mean? Like we're going to be done. So I think we air the rest of 6 and our first forays into season 4 are just going to be impressions like what we did for YouTube with episode 1. And we don't have to do episode 1 now because we already did. So we're just going to do a first impressions pod, and those are going to be short. So we can do double drops. We can do every other week, whatever. Because our first impressions that I posted, I mean, what did the podcast end up being? Like right around an hour. And then my video was like that because I cut out.
We don't know what we're going to do. We'll see and find out.
You guys will know once we decide.
we will decide on the day how much editing we can get through.
Yeah, because we got to look at life. Like you have that wedding and
I have so much on in the next few weeks. It's going to be chaos, which is kind of why I want to get a bunch of these smashed out this week when I don't have time, but I will find time to edit.
Well, and like I said, I'm pretty flexible except for Thursday from about midnight because 3 a.m. I'm watching Bridgerton half when gonna happen. And then Saturday we have the watch and we have 3 attend.
Yeah. Okay. So. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have anything in particular you would like us to cover or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you are enjoying our podcast, please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave comments wherever you are listening. Please, please, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can actually get paid for what we do. It would be super helpful.
It would be awesome. Like and honestly, to be fair, because I don't like feeling like we're asking to be monetize.
I would just like to at least cover the cost of recording and editing.
Well, yes, but here's my point. I almost lost my computer. We have to look at, if we're going to continue this through all of the season, the likelihood of this laptop making it the whole time, highly unlikely. We have to forward think, and we have to think about microphones and cameras and laptops and external hard drives. I've already invested in 2 external hard drives. There are things that, hobbies
there are
money.
Overhead costs for us. Yeah.
Yes. And we want to try and get together for season 5. We're working on that. That's a totally separate fund. But for me, the scare I got and the pit in my stomach I had when I thought I lost theater is really like, I love for you to subscribe. That's all you got to do is subscribe.
Yeah. And because we absolutely adore
the watch hours. We just need the subscribers.
We absolutely adore our Patreons and Buy Me a Coffee goers. But we don't ever want to feel like people have to pay us to do it. Like YouTube and Spotify should be paying us. Like we bring a lot of content and listeners to their page. So we would like them to just pay us our dues, but we can't until we hit those minimum numbers.
Their numbers, what they expect. Yeah. And I can tell you, we are going to hit the watch hours YouTube requires
very
in
soon.
The next 10 days.
Yeah.
We're almost at 2,500. We only need 3,000, and we're gaining about 20 to 30 watch hours a day. And we just need the subscribers. So please subscribe. If you have a friend who loves Bridgerton, ask them to subscribe. We would greatly appreciate. Thank you very much.
Ask your grandmas. Ask your dads. We need some dads on here.
Right. We would love to have some dads.
Once again, thank you for. No, I am not purple.
Once again, thank you for listening to the musings and the soapboxes of 2 mad women.
Yours truly, not purple, blue, Tash the Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.